Even though there was probably some sickos that watched the
I know, but she's a little hottie for a
treated
cartoon.
her as real.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
Is she the hottest cartoon character?
What?
Probably so.
The
Right?
hottest cartoon character?
Don't
That's
get
a
me out of
question.
this.
Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack. Sports life and everything in between right here on 106.9 The Country Giant. We are in the Potosi Live studio in the Mall of Abilene getting ready for a great, I talk about jam-packed shows all the time. We have got a jam-packed show and our Pest Control phone line is going to be coming alive as Coach Rick McCarty, the ACU baseball coach, will be here in Chip Townsend from Team Chip. We'll be here as well about an event they've got coming up, and I wonder how many Cobra Kai questions that he gets, do you think, Josh?
Probably a lot.
Probably not anybody from his dojo, and I want to know if they caught him since then.
You could ask.
I bet there's some sort of name. There's got to be.
I'm a little nervous. I don't want to get roundhouse.
Master Splinter.
Yeah, Master Chip.
Easy grasshopper. But we got a lot of stuff today. Hockey came to literally out of nowhere, and it became a very big deal for the non-hockey fan. The Masters of Hockey maybe happened last night, and I tuned in, and so we'll talk about that. A cowboy rides away in the sunset, unfortunately. Major League Baseball, we've got a question we threw out for our Black Plumbing social media question of the week. Owner said something that was awkward and caught a lot of attention, and I'm anxious to get Misty and Josh's opinion on that as well. So, how'd it go? Good Valentine's, and Josh killed it at the singer-songwriter.
Well, thank you. I had a good time. It was fun.
A lot of people were there, a lot of talented folks.
There were a lot of people there.
And so, yeah, it was good stuff. Tell the listeners your two songs, and how can we get them on Spotify?
I'd have to record them first.
Oh, you didn't do a live album? That's not what we
Dang it.
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone recorded it. Got to dig into that. No, there's a song that, the first song I sing is called "Married to Whiskey." It's obviously tongue in cheek, but it was made out of a comment that a friend made to another friend of mine, because he had been dumped by his girlfriend, and so that was like, so someone said, well, married to whiskey then, and so then I wrote a song about it. So it's a song about getting dumped, but wasn't.
And whiskey was the rebound?
True, yeah, I guess so. True story, but not my story, just someone else's that I adapted. The other song's The Drive-By, and it is a true story that I lived myself. Story with that goes that Hurricane Katrina, there was refugees were leaving New Orleans. There was a house that was next door to me that had been foreclosed on by the VA. So I guess it was, the government had this house and allowed these refugees to move into the house. A man by the name of Tyrese and like his mom and some kids. There was a bunch of people, I don't know, but Tyrese was actually a nice guy.
Real straight shooter.
Yeah. So he moved in, and then when he moved in, there was a lot of traffic that started coming to his house. And I was like, well, he's got to be slinging drugs because he just moved here, and these people are just coming all the time, and so it was, really, really a downer for the neighborhood. So anyway, there was this one night that just rapid succession of gunshots, and my window was on the side of the house where their house was, and so it sounded like someone was standing right outside my window, just like firing a gun, and so I wrote a song about it, and that.
What was it called? What's it called?
Drive-By.
Oh, just the Drive-By.
Yeah, I mean, maybe come up with a better title.
Well, no, it was fine. I thought it was a Pioneer and what?
North 9th and Pioneer.
North 9th and Pioneer,
That was the
yeah.
corner that I lived on.
Yeah.
It could be called North 9th and Pioneer, but anyway, so that's the story behind the two songs that I sang on
Somebody start Drive-By thinking it's a different tune, also it's a country song.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was good. It's good turnout. Tomorrow night is the finals for the singer-songwriter competition. The winners, the semifinals will be there tomorrow night. Mark Powell's going to do we'll be there with the band to do a show after. Bernie Nelson, big songwriter who wrote Daddy Wasn't a Cadillac Kind by Confederate Railroad will be there. So good stuff. It was good. We enjoyed being there and watching Josh do it. It was good stuff. So, and then we had, of course, we'll make this part of the Lawrence Hall headline report because we are kicking off. We appreciate Lawrence Hall. Had Valentine's. Anybody spend $10?
Yeah, I want to know what y'all ended up doing for your wives.
I ended up getting, so I got some candy, and then I went to Office Depot and I bought some crayons, poured the crayons out, bought some construction paper, and made hearts, and then wrote things on them like the candy hearts.
He did it.
Yeah.
Look at Hodge.
I did spend a little more than $10, but I went to because the mall here, which is where the Close Life Studio is, across from Chuck E. Cheese. We got a candy store down here. It's pretty loaded with a lot of different
It
candy.
is loaded.
So I went in there and got some candy, and so yeah, that's what I did.
And Tracy enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So-
What'd you do?
Yes, I did nothing.
Did you-
Like I said, I was
Your
doing-
fettuccine and your
I
cheap
did
wine.
Absolutely nothing.
We ended up at Buffalo
I'm trying
Wild
to
Wings.
remember what I did on last Friday. We watched basketball on TV.
Oh, so yeah. So I'm telling you, and again, we'll dive right into the Lawrence Hall headline report with basketball. So much going on. We got so much to talk about.
Oh no, we didn't watch it on TV. We actually went.
Yeah, you went to Coleman.
Yeah, we went to Coleman and watched it.
There you go.
Nice.
See, it's been a week. That's hard for me to remember that long ago.
And that's true. And so y'all went to B-Dubs?
Yeah, on a whim, it was like, where do we want to go? Where's not going to be packed? Because we were just going to stay in. And then a group of us ended up like, well, let's go there. There's never anybody there. And I mean, we didn't have any problem getting in, but they were a little busier than normal. But.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it was good times. And then, of course, did that on Saturday. Went and watched Josh. And then, of course, actually played golf on Saturday because it was the last day that was going to happen until I don't know when we will get to
Well,
play
it's
golf.
supposed to be warm-ish tomorrow compared to what it has been.
Yeah, it's getting better. But so let's dive into the Lawrence Hall headline report. And we'll do some of these along the way because basketball's happening. Jayton girls won last night. Jayton boys and Gordon boys are playing at Wiley today at 6 o'clock. Real good chance that's going to be for the state championship. Number 1 versus number 3. They both won state championships in football, being 2 different classifications in the 6-man world. It'll be a great game. 1 o'clock today, Aaliyah Chavez and Lubbock Monterey will be taking on Argyle at 1 o'clock at ACU. Aaliyah Chavez goes off for 50 Tuesday night. It is Women's Crush Wednesday or whatever on SportsCenter the next day on ESPN. Number 1 player in the country. Still hadn't made a decision on where she's going to go play. But I'm going to tell you, I was impressed with number 22 as well.
Was that Ambrosia Cole?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
And,
she is really
they
good
got
too.
a 6'1", 6'2" post. It should be a good game today at 1 o'clock. That's I will be there at 1. And then just lots of basketball. Eula and Hermley play today for a chance to go to the state semifinals. There's no longer a state tournament in high school basketball, which is I have a problem with. But anyway, so that's tonight. Just a lot of good games going on tonight around the big country with teams in it. So
That really is annoying. The no more regional and then state tournament. I don't know I don't know the thinking behind that, but it bothers me.
I'm not a fan of the 1 o'clock game time start today. I wanted to watch that game, so I'm thinking like,
'cause that's
late
that's the
lunch,
regional
I don't really
final,
know.
right? And 1
yeah,
o'clock
but
on
I'm like,
Friday?
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we have to work for a living.
I'm not real sure why it's at 1 o'clock. I recommend if you have a lunch hour and a half to take it then.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I may just try to take a late lunch.
So, but anyway,
I
at
can.
ACU today.
Well, I gotta pick up my kids at 1:20 because it's
Oh yeah, y'all
early
early
release for people to go to basketball games.
Oh yeah. So who does Jim Ed have?
Dalhart they're in the regional final playing in Lubbock at 6 o'clock. So
Are y'all going to that?
we thought about it, but decided, and I really like playoff basketball. I mean, it's super exciting, but it's still, have things planned tomorrow. So we were thinking, all right, that's a 2.5 hour drive, watch an hour and a half of basketball, 2.5 hour drive back, have to get a meal somewhere in there.
Yeah, late night.
Just like, so we're gonna watch it it is on YouTube, so we'll be able to watch it on that.
Yeah. So just a lot of great games, a lot of teams, number of teams still in it, and so finding a spot to watch some games and enjoy it. Abilene Cooper. I talked to Bacon. They've got Estacada and Burt Burnett playing at Abilene Cooper. And then tonight, it's going to be great. You're going to go from Jayden and Gordon playing at 6, and then at 8 o'clock, still at Wiley, Friendship and South Lake Carroll.
Oh, we need to go. We need to go to those games. Are you going to those games?
Oh yeah, I'll be at all. I'm going to be at all 3 today. I will be at all 3 today.
I may make an appearance.
So yeah, I think it'll be good. I'm going to tell you now a little warning: if you're going to watch the Jayden Gordon game at Wiley tonight, you're going to want to get there early because everybody from Jayden, everybody from Gordon's going to be there, and then everybody outside that wants to watch some good basketball is going to be there because, like I said, the way the seating and all that works, you can ship tonight at 6 o'clock in Wiley. So that's going on. We got about 2 minutes left of the Lawrence Highland Report again. Congratulations to those that are playing. I thought about that last night, and I was driving home. Basketball over, which means softball, baseball, track, golf, tennis, busiest school time of the year, spring, because especially in a small school, if you play baseball and track and golf, you may go to school 1 day a week. And then you throw in stock shows that are still going on. So just a busy time. But if you need that new car, truck, or SUV to get to where you're going, head to Lawrence Hall. We got to talk couple of things, and we'll get some hockey in because I'm curious. Did y'all watch it?
For a little bit, yes.
Canada winning 3-2 in overtime, unfortunately.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it as well.
It's one of those things that, big, exciting hockey games, I kind of want to watch it, but then I watched it and then I kind of start to get kind of bored.
I'm just there for the fights,
I
honestly.
mean, there is excitement, obviously, an overtime, close game, and it was rough, and it was, but I catch myself kind of like, I don't know.
Right.
I wish I liked it more, maybe.
I wish
I don't have the bandwidth to start watching another sport.
I wish I understood it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, icing and you can't do this, do that.
I figured that out playing.
But then you can beat the crap out of each other.
That's the depth of my knowledge of the rules of hockey were based off of playing video games. So
well, there you go. That's always important. A couple things. Victor Wembanyama going to be sat down for the rest of the year. San Antonio Spurs 7-footer sat down with a blood clot, and I mentioned it. Zach Martin announced his retirement. Offensive lineman, 5-year window starts for him to walk into Canton. But another piece for another difficulty for the Cowboys to fill in that for.
You realize he had 7 holding penalties his entire career?
Wow.
He's a 7-time All-Pro and has 7 holding penalties.
Yeah. 11 years in the league, 7-time, played at Notre Dame. Unbelievably good. And we're 34. And as I mentioned, he'll be all favorite.
Yeah.
What's
He's
that?
like, see ya.
Yeah. I've made plenty of money. Everything works for the most part. And
he has been dinged up the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And I get that, if you can't perform to your level, I mean, I wish he was still playing, but no hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds another piece that you have to go figure out draft free agency, because if you don't have the best lineman there anymore, taking care of your 60-minute quarterback, you've got to get that fixed. So that is our last night, 3-2. Canada wins in overtime. 4 nations, a great concept. Instead of watching a boring all-star game, throw some people together, put some spice into it, and I think they did a good job with that. So when we come back, we'll talk some baseball again. Our first Faith and Trust Texas Green Report. An owner said something that probably didn't make any sense, and it ticked off a lot of people. We'll get your thoughts and Misty's, and we come back right after this.
Dang. Now I'm like thinking, okay, how can I make this basketball happen? I did think about though going to ACU for like a later lunch, and I've got the time because I'm not flexing. But yeah,
You're not flexing?
I'm not flexing today. That means I leave at 12 every other Friday. We have the ability to leave if you have all of your hours by whatever time on Friday. Every other Friday, you're allowed to cut your week short. But this week was already a short week, so we don't flex on short weeks.
Yeah, I didn't know. Do y'all take all baseball days off?
Not all, but most. Like we don't have Columbus or veterans, but everything else we observe.
Juneteenth.
Actually, that's another one we don't. So there's a few that we don't.
Yeah.
But most of the other ones we do.
Because we had a military affairs meeting, and of course Katie was there, and
Was it Monday? Yeah.
and she mentioned being off.
Yeah, and we can always work on the holiday and then shift and kind of use a floating holiday for something else.
Well, I think
but,
she was there just because
Yeah.
it was Mac.
Right. But yeah, most of us took off.
That's good flexibility.
It's very, yeah, no, they're very good to us. But yeah, Hodge and I were at that game at Hardin Simmons, and Aaliyah Chavez is just, yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen her play live, but
No.
she is a stone cold killer. I mean, she is just like, she's like a Caitlin Clark type. I mean, she'll just come down, stop, pop, and drop it right on you. And driving, just really good.
That game, and it's just, yeah,
I think she had
from anywhere that
5. Well, she probably had more threes. How many? I wonder how many threes she ended up with. I don't know, but she just drives all over the place.
She ended up with 50 points.
Right. I mean, she is definitely fun to watch, and she's doing the moves up to the goal. I mean, spinning around and little showboating here and there.
I just saw this. Wow. ESPN and Major League Baseball to end broadcast partnership after 2025.
So I'm gonna have a game of the week on.
No more Sunday night baseball.
That's weird. Is someone else taking it over, or is it just?
That is weird.
Because they've always done that exclusive thing, like where, like every other team plays a day game on Sunday, so that game is the only game that's going on.
Oh yeah, there's nobody else playing Sunday night.
Yeah.
Well, my question is.
So it's always something I've turned on.
And I know
it's the only sport that's like.
Right.
My thing is what does that say for Major League Baseball if ESPN's walking away from you?
Well, unless it could be bad, but it also could mean that there's another plan that was going to be more lucrative for baseball. I don't know. I don't think baseball has as much of a viewership problem as like the general idea of like people like, baseball doesn't have the same like pizzazz the NFL does, and it doesn't.
ESPN has carried MLB games since 1990.
But the problem with baseball is it's regional. Like people don't really follow the teams that aren't like their team. Right.
Unless they're the Yankee fans across the world.
Right.
Yuck.
Welcome back to the
Hodge Pack, Sports Life, and everything in between. It is time for our first Make and Trust Major League Baseball report as the pitchers and catchers and everybody's out there in Arizona or Florida. And so things are happening. Baseball's coming. We were just looking on ESPN.com, and ESPN and MLB will be ending their partnership at the end of the 2025 season. So no more Sunday night baseball. Carl Ravitch, who was always, and I'm sure Tim Kirkshin and all those guys will still cover baseball, but kind of wonder if those guys will be going somewhere else. Anyway, that was not what we had planned talking about. But Josh, tonight, Rangers got their first, or today, I'm sure. Probably today. First spring training game. Was talking to Katie, Katie Alford, whose new son-in-law as of December, Dash Albus, who was on the show, said I guess he heads out either this week or next week and joins. And the cool thing about spring training, I guess it's the same with others, but there's a lot of baseball players. And getting to be in the same room, if you will, with everybody. I don't know how that works, but that's got to be pretty cool if you're just this up-and-comer high school kid or college kid that got drafted, and now you're in there with, if you're a Ranger, you're in there with Corey Seager and Simeon and
Right, I
all
mean,
those guys.
and they have, Major League Camp obviously starts, I think it's 2 weeks or a week, I'm not sure, before minor league camp, so some minor leaguers get invited to Major League Camp to kind of start to be in that environment. But even for the younger guys, the minor league guys that aren't in Major League Camp, they do inter squad with each other, they do workout, at times with each other, and so you do get to be part of that and take part in those games in that environment. So it would be incredible, I haven't gone to spring training, I really wanted to go this year, but my family wanted other things for vacation, so it's not what we're doing.
Well, and I would think it'd be the equivalent, and I want to get into this owner stuff and what the Brewers owner said, but I would think for these major league guys or these young guys that are trying to make it to the bigs, it's like the golfer that qualifies for a tournament, and they're the 15-year-old that qualifies for the U.S. Open, and they're getting to be on the range of Rory or Tiger or Scotty Scheffler and all that, and getting to be in that same realm with them for like 4 days.
Right, you kind of get that
They hold 4 days.
little taste of it, and then start, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you would be, especially when you think about some of the stories that you've heard about, people that are right out of high school, right out of college, they move into that, and then they're on a team with a guy that was like their hero,
Right.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
The guy that, just kind of on the back end of their career,
Very
it's
cool.
all of that, like,
And that's exactly what happens in golf or in baseball. You don't think Evan Carter or Wyatt Langford wasn't? I mean,
I'm sure they're big baseball fans.
Yeah.
They're watching whoever it was that they were
Yeah.
watching, and now whether that's someone that's they're on the team with or have that first game, or like if you were grew up a big Mike Trout fan, which if you were Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford's age, that would be the guy that. And then you go play against the Angels, and you're on the same field as Mike Trout.
and you have jersey swaps.
Um,
But anyway, so again, our first Bank and Trust Texas Ranger MLB report. Not a whole lot yet. Again, Rangers start today. We'll start looking more into the Rangers as, who's staying healthy, who's doing those things, who's making the roster and all that as we get closer. But this past week, and I really want to kind of get, again, you and Misty's thoughts on this, is right now the Dodgers, everybody's giving them a fit about how much money they're spending, and that the rich got richer. Rich got richer, and so this past week, one of the things that happened was Rob Manfred said, "Do not blame don't blame the Dodgers. Don't hate the Dodgers for spending so much money. Blame the system." And basically, you can spend what you want to spend, and it doesn't matter. If you've got the money, if you got the money, honey, they've got the time.
Yeah, I've got the time.
And so you spend it. And so, anyway, in all that, it came up with, don't be mad that the Dodgers have all this money to spend. In the same world, Mark Antiazzo, I don't know how you say it, he's the Brewers manager, Brewers owner. And he said this, "Is my job to win a World Series, or is my job to provide a summer of entertainment and passion and a way for families to come together?" So and it ticked off a lot of Brewers fans, because their thoughts is, we need to figure out a way to win a World Series. We can go entertain ourselves doing something else.
Well,
So-
but that's the problem. The answer to that question is yes.
It's
Right.
both.
It's got to be both. But you have to, as an owner, if you're not playing to win, trying to do your best with whatever means you have to win a World Series, that's a problem. But if you, and it goes hand in hand. If you're winning, entertainment will be,
It comes
more,
naturally.
will
Yeah.
come naturally. But but you still have to have a ballpark that people want to go to. You have to have concessions that make you want to buy, whatever they are. You have to have just a general environment as far as the production of the game that's entertaining, and a screen that you can see the replays, and
So let me ask you,
speakers to play the walk-up music. I mean, if it's not entertaining when you go to the game, so it has to be both.
Yeah, but if you're winning, they will come.
Right.
So, there's that. Yeah, it absolutely is number one job to win a championship. I mean, that's, to me, is it my job to win a World Series? Yes, it is your job to go after a championship. Period.
that's my thing.
Period.
I think you've got to figure out, because, for example, we've got the wealthiest franchise in the world 2.5 hours down the road. They're worth multi-billion dollars. And from a atmosphere, you got a big screen, concessions may be a little high, tickets may be high. But we get upset with Jerry because he doesn't do what?
Win.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
we don't
win.
win. Yeah.
And so to me, the role of the owner, and I agree to an extent, is to create an atmosphere. You don't want to be like the owner on Major League where you want to get such a bad deal that you want to sell the team.
But yeah, when
But
you're
you
winning,
want to
they
put
will
yourself in a
come.
position to where you are providing the best. It's kind of like parents. Parents want to provide the best they can for their kids, no matter your socioeconomic background. Parents want to provide the best for their kids, maybe better than they had it, all those things.
Mhm.
So they do what they have to do. They get in multiple jobs. They do those things. You hear about it all the time from these players that mom worked 3 or 4 jobs to take me to practice, to these things, to make things happen. To me, that's what the ownership needs to be doing. The ownership program, it's kind of like the Eagles. The Eagles have a great general manager. They went out, they get the right pieces to put the best stuff together. That's why I say you cannot be mad at the Chiefs for continuing to win. You cannot be mad at the Eagles for continuing to try to win when they start doing those things and putting the pieces together to put the best product on the field for their fan base, and ultimately for their pocketbook.
Right.
And so my thought is that ownership group or that owner needs to make sure that winning, it's different, that winning is a priority, that winning is what we're trying to do, because we want parades, we want rings, we want that, because if you do win, your franchise, well, I say that Cowboys aren't winning and their franchise is loaded.
Right.
I don't know. I just think it's something that when he said that, because I was listening to Unsportsmanlike this week, and a Milwaukee Brewer fan called in, and he'd been a Brewers fan forever. His dad went to 79 of 81 games 1 year at home. And he said, what Antasio said yesterday turned me off. I am no longer a Brewers fan. Now, I think that's an extreme. Will he still go to games? I don't know. But that's what he is saying. That's what it ticked off their fan base.
Well, I mean, and I get that completely, that it would, because like I said, if winning is not like the number one goal, then as a fan, you're like, why should I care to follow this team? Which we've had that conversation, as you mentioned, with the Cowboys ad nauseum, just all the time. Like, does Jerry really even care about winning, and all that goes with that. So I mean, I understand being ticked off about it, but I also understand that, like I said, he has to put a product out there that people want to enjoy. And no matter who you are, even if you're the Yankees or the Dodgers, you're not going to win the World Series every year. So it can't be like, well, I'm only gonna have an entertaining product when we're on the upswing. So I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't read as much into it as maybe some of the Brewers fans have.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. I don't know what else to say about it other than, yes, if you're a sports owner and a head coach of any magnitude of any sport, your number one priority should be to win, period. Like, I have nothing else to say. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that is your role. And I know, and it's like Giannis said one year, they got knocked out of the NBA finals or NBA playoffs. And he said, you do know only one team wins a championship each year.
Right.
So does that mean it's a failure if you don't? But I think that ought to be your goal to strive to make the playoffs, see what you can do, and if you win it all, you win it all. And so it was just interesting of what you think that role, and that's why we threw that out. What you think the role of the owner should be. I put this in. We got about a minute before we call Coach McCarty. Josh, they're looking to add machines and call balls and strikes and challenge balls and strikes. Thoughts?
Yes, they are implementing that in some spring training games to kind of, I guess, start seeing how that plays out. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out because I think it could be interesting. I don't really have a problem with it. You know, there are some people that you know that have more of an issue with it. My whole thing is all going to be about how it's implemented. You know, because I feel like, you know, baseball put instant replay in and still gets calls wrong. More than any other sport. Even though you see it in football where, you know, we've talked about plays of the way that they ended up and they're challenged and not overturned or overturned. And when you look at it yourself, you clearly see something different than what apparently whoever in New York saw. You know, so how it's put into the game will shape my opinion of it, obviously. But since they've started doing the scorecard for umpires, there's only been one umpire that called a perfect game. So it's happened one time. Now, I'm not saying missing one ball or strike in a game or a couple would mean that there's, you know, you're terrible at your job, because that's got to be very hard. But the idea that one bad ball strike call goes one way or the other during a game can seriously change the outcome of the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you want the game to be played and determined by the true what should happen outcome, then you want that call to be overturned. You know, if you walk a guy on a bad call, or you strike out looking on a bad call, that changes how that inning goes, you know, I'm fine with it being turned around. But if it slows things down and it's a boondoggle of a process and you're just like, all right, here we're waiting for this call to come back, I'm not going to be very excited about it.
Well, I want you to hold that thought, and maybe we can come back with it. We're going to go to commercial. When we come back, we're going to have Coach McCarty on our Pest Control phone line. We're going to give him a call and talk to him. But I'm curious I want you to think about this, Misty, obviously not part of your bag, but do we like the human element? Because today, in all three basketball games I watch, there's going to be calls that are good, calls that are bad, calls that were missed, calls that didn't get called, all those things. To me, I think it makes the game part of it, and you have to learn about it. We'll talk more about that down the road when we come back.
Okay. Going to my hole. I don't know why I thought he was coming in studio.
He was. What'd you say?
Morning here.
What'd you say?
I thought he was like coming in on the phone.
He was, but he has to help his kid.
Oh, no. I guess I'll hang out.
I think we can do a Q.
I'll say what, come through the phone or come through the board. You had that working for a little bit.
It's all about a cord.
You're not happy for it?
I think it was something with Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. Everything good? Everything you're good with doing it over the phone? Okay.
to see if we can get on the road to Dallas for a dance competition. So,
No worries.
a little sped up in the McCarty house at the moment. We're good though. So I'm changed back to Kentucky in the truck now, so I'm all good.
Okay, good deal. We've got a couple commercials, and then we'll be ready to roll.
Okay.
So,
Well, you just keep me up and I'll talk as I drive here.
all right, sounds good. So first home game, I figure we'll talk. Kicked everything off. Had big opening day win against Illinois, and then I guess everything will start tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna play 12 o'clock doubleheader tomorrow. See if we can get the new era start off on a good note. I hope.
Right.
There's not going to cooperate with us today, I don't think.
No. The sting from the bat may not be fun.
No, and it's not probably worth getting guys out there
No.
running around when it feels like 29.
Exactly.
So,
And so talk about what year is this? Is this 4 or 5?
yeah, man, you're slowing me down. I like it. 7. This is
Oh, wow.
our 7th season. Yeah,
Wow.
so year 7.
Okay. Got a couple went blank. Young local kids still. Regala had a good little outing the other day.
Yeah, so Braden and then Reese Borho.
Yeah.
We got Blaine Palmer.
Right.
Cooper Herbacek is here from Wiley too. I think that's our full big country guys.
Good deal. All right. Well, we got one more, and I thought we'll talk about what's home game's going to be like with construction.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be good.
Perfect. We got one more, and then we're rolling.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between, and things keep rocking and rolling. And it's time as we look to highlight a local player coaching program. And today we're highlighting a coach in a program. I've made him a little bit younger than he is, been there a little time. But our Big Country Electric My Town segment brought to you by Big Country Electric Co-op, taking care of their people. We got the ACU head baseball coach, Rick McCarty, being an Uber driver today, doing everything on our pest control phone line. Coach, how we doing this morning?
It's open today, or was open today, so a few things can go upside. That's kind of how the morning's played out. We're doing well, man. Thanks for having me this morning.
And again, Coach joining us, 7th year, started the other day at Corpus Christi. Things are going. They have their home opener this week. As he mentioned, supposed to be today, but winter's hanging out one more day longer. But Coach, seventh year, things are rolling good. You've made some Division 2 to Division 1. You made some conference changes. What has you excited about year 7 for Wildcat baseball?
I think overall, I think there's a positive momentum, around our program right now, and around our athletic department as well. I think our leadership is back, and there's so many things that are going in the right direction. I think, when you look at the facility, and I think, we want to be known as a program, not just a team, so some consistency with that. So we have won 30 plus games the last 4 years, and we've got some good players, I think, in our program. We've got 7 guys that won professional baseball the last 2, so I think we're trending. We still have a long way to get to the top, but we're certainly excited about where we are, and probably more excited about what the future holds.
Well, and you mentioned it, ACU talked about having that success, and even Coach Patterson and people that go on to the league, and whether it's Danielle Manning and all those things in the NFL. How much is that a recruiting tool also for you when you go into a room or go into a home and talk about, hey, you can't come to ACU, have a great experience, and get to the next level?
Yeah, I think that's part of the whole package, that young players will look like, just like you and I did and hopefully work towards playing professional sports. You know, and I know that's what the majority of our guys' dreams are. The cool part about doing it at ACU, you're going to get a world-class degree and have a really tight network of people that are going to support you throughout the rest of your career, regardless if that's as a random pitcher or, a real estate agent, I guess. There's just going to be some good support in that regard. So that's certainly something that, we share with kids and, student athletes that I think they can reach all parts of that journey of their career that can be here in Abilene.
Well, and one of the things that we've seen, again, I go back to basically across college sports, is the transfer portal. How have you used the transfer portal? We've seen it again in football. How has it been beneficial for you in baseball?
Yes, I think we're committed to trying to recruit and develop players for 3 to 4 years. And that's what I got to the business for a long time ago. I don't want that to change. We started 2 freshmen last Friday night against Illinois. We had a freshman that came in and closed the game out, and through 3 innings, got his first college win, an extra inning game, and then, Noah got to play a role in the win too. So we want young guys to have an opportunity to play here. That being said, the older the guy is, the more experienced the guy is, probably the stronger the guy is. So there's certainly a need for that, because a lot of those folks are going the opposite direction in terms of just bringing in older, more experienced people. So we're going to try to blend it here. We do, like our guy was going to throw opening day for us last week. In an Oklahoma State transfer. But we want to bring in guys that we already probably recruited at one point, so we know them or we know their coach. There's already a pre-existing relationship for the most part versus just throwing something up and hoping it sticks. So yeah, I do think it's a valuable part. And to this point, we haven't been really gut punched by it with some of our premier guys leaving.
Well, that's definitely good to not be, I guess, being pillaged, all the time. So that shows a lot about what y'all do as a staff and as a university, just to keep people happy and make sure that they're bought in. And part of what I've thought about, obviously got the big renovation going at the stadium. What's that looking like? And is everything up and going, or is it still kind of in progress?
Man, it looks amazing. I can't wait for the folks in the big country to swing by and hopefully catch a game and just see the size and scope of it. We actually cut down the seating capacity, but when you get inside of it, it does kind of feel like it feels great. It's going to be a really good place to watch a baseball game. For those that have been at for a long time, the lack of shade wasn't real attractive. I'm sure we've got plenty of that now. The seats are great. We're calling it functional, just not finished right now. It's still, there's a lot of parts that are still yet to be finished. Our player spaces are still under construction. Our coaches' offices are still under construction. But in terms of the seating, the bowl, the press box, the video board, and all the game day operations stuff, we're clear to play a game. So it's going to look and feel a little different probably for the next 4 to 6 weeks. But it's certainly worth the wait.
Well, and no doubt, that's one thing that ACU's done a really good job facility-wise, taking care of all that. So you're saying for this week, for Youngstown State, come doubleheader tomorrow, 12 o'clock, first one, buy a ticket and seating and all that, you'll be good to go?
Yeah, it's going to be like, you'll see it beforehand, man. It's going to look under construction in some areas that got those blocked off. You're going to be able to get to where you need to sit to watch a game. And, hopefully our guys will put on a good product and we can find a way to win our first game and, just kind of kickstart a new era. But yeah, the seats are great. There's some nice comfortable mesh back seating. They're all seated chair backs. You'll probably want to get out of the shade tomorrow with the temperature. So we're going to go from hunting shade to hunting sunshine.
Yeah, no doubt. And one of the things, one of our listeners, listening said all the youth camps ACU put on are phenomenal as well. Jet looks forward to going to them every year. So y'all do a great job with that as well. So Coach, I know you're busy and all that, but what do you see is successful? What do you think the ceiling is for this team of 2025?
Yeah, it's a great question. We talked about that yesterday as a group, just trying to figure out what the identity is of this team. You know, I think I really like our starting pitching pieces, which is going to give us hopefully a chance to stay in most games. You know, I think as our offense settles in, I was very pleased with some of our new guys, and we've got some good returning pieces just offensively. So, but I think we're constantly trying to chase championships here, you know, because I think that's the only way to a guaranteed regional appearance for us in baseball. So, you know, we finished second place in our league last year behind Grand Canyon. We played for a conference championship in the conference service championship in 22. So we've kind of been knocking on that door. I hope that this is the group that does something that's never been done before, which, and we always talk about that in our program, is trying to do something that just hasn't been done. So that would be playing in a regional, you know, at the Division I level. There's so much Division II success here, and we're trying to add on and build on to that. And so hopefully at the end of 2025, we can all feel good about playing in a regional somewhere and just knocking down some more giants along the way.
Yeah, that would be outstanding, and I look forward to that level of success for the program, because it is good baseball. It's fun to watch, and I'm definitely a baseball fan, so I'm looking forward to coming out to the new confines and taking in some games this year.
Now we're excited. I think, like I said, we had 7 guys that have played professional baseball. I think if you come watch, like Don Reed, who's going to throw for us tomorrow, will be 92, 96, and he's over to play. He competes at high. He's fun to watch. He punched out the sidelines when he, you know, against Illinois to start the year. Brett Lamb is a returning conference pitcher of the year. Is going to have a really good career here for us. He's only a sophomore. And then Gabe McGar. So I think we've got 3 guys in our rotation that are going to play professional baseball. So I think, yeah, that's exciting. You know, when I'm 2 juniors and a sophomore. So hopefully we'll keep building on that and catch it and score and get over the play a little bit more often this weekend.
Well, again, Coach, we appreciate Coach Rick McCarty from ACU on our Pest Control phone line. Busy morning, Uber driving and getting everything ready for the opening home opener this weekend. Coach, appreciate it. Go get your tickets tomorrow. You got 2 doubleheaders, 2 tomorrow and 2 on Sunday. And Coach, we appreciate you taking time this morning.
Okay, I'll see you around at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
All right, again, it's Coach Rick McCarty. And again, appreciate him joining us. When we come back, we'll open up Misty's bag and be a little nervous. Coach, appreciate it. No, you're good. We'll have you back in and maybe bring in some players. All right. You too. We'll see you. Okay, bye.
We need to refresh it again, we're okay for, I don't know, but it sounded great the whole time, it didn't go off.
If not, you're missing one of the best.
Turn it down. I always do, just because in case we
Right.
get rolling.
Okay.
But
Yeah, it is. It was warm in there. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna just stay in here. Such a little baby. I was like, what was I looking at? I'm so bummed. Mulligan's had taco soup last night.
Oh,
I was like, I saw it too late. I was like, that sounds so good. But we were there on Wednesday for Wing Wednesday. still hiring. I'm tired today. Like, it's been a good week, but it's been a long week. I'm just like dragging. I'm like, I need to wake up. I keep yawning.
It's been so stressful, it's so cold, can't do anything.
And maybe that's it.
Like bored.
I know, like cooped up. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
I took the day off.
Oh, you're off today?
Yes,
Fun.
well, yeah, my grandmother passed away.
Oh.
The funeral's on Monday.
Yes, I meant to say,
Yes,
sorry about
I'm
that.
so
I didn't know I
sorry.
texted you, but-
And so, anyway, and so we have, you take 5 days for bereavement and just early release for the kids and stuff. I was just like,
Yeah.
just
Take off. Yeah.
You're off today.
Yeah, and Monday for the you know, lunch at the church and so
Yeah.
took the whole day on Monday.
Yeah.
And so I didn't necessarily need today for any of that stuff,
Right, but still,
it was
yeah.
it was a free day off.
Yes, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah.
She was 90 what?
96.
'96.
Yeah.
Good long life.
Yep. She had health issues, obviously, but was very, very mentally acute. So, just a very.
That's so good.
So,
Yeah, that's so good.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. Glad that you're with us this morning. Appreciate Coach Rick McCarty joining us, but now it is time from our good friends at Mulligan's, and makes me nervous, Misty, time for this.
I'm going to give y'all a hint today. This is a sports question, so it might make you feel a little bit more at ease. But first, got to shout out our friends at Mulligan Sports Bar, Grill and Golf, located at 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive, right here in Abilene, Texas. So don't forget, on Mondays, they've got their Key City Gendo. If you have never played Gendo, it's really fun. It's like musical bingo. Very fun. Then Tuesdays, Key City Karaoke. Wednesdays, Wing Wednesday. I've been going the last probably 6 weeks on Wednesdays. We have a group of friends that go on Wednesdays, and very, very good. It's BOGO wings. And then last night I saw that they tried something new and had taco soup. So I was kind of bummed I saw that too late, because that sounded good because it was chilly last night. So they're doing all the things. They are still hiring for kitchen help. So apply in person, again, 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive. So, all right, the question today is, who is the best duo of all time in sports?
Across the board.
Across the board, it can be any sport, any positions, any whatever. Who comes to mind as the best duo for you in sports, and why?
Well, I mean, one, they led to a gold jacket. I mean, Happy Gilmore and Chubbs was pretty good. Overcame a lot of odds, wooden hand and death, and to still win a gold jacket.
I asked Collins this question, and she said White Chicks. Y'all seen that movie White Chicks? I was like, oh my gosh.
Did they play sports?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but she
That's
said,
a weird response.
yeah, she said White Chicks, and I cracked up.
You know, they didn't win a championship. They weren't the greatest ever, but you know, Stockton and Malone were a great duo. Even though they didn't jive apparently post success because one was jealous. Pippen and Jordan, Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. Yeah, that's a tough, especially when you go across the board of all sports.
I feel like basketball is more geared to it, because like the first, and you mentioned like those two groups were guys that I initially thought of. And I think it's because generally there's two people can have more impact in basketball than on, baseball.
Well, and they
football,
ran the pick and roll on repeat.
Right. And,
What about?
yeah, Stockton and Malone were, and they were both like very quintessential, like Stockton is like the quintessential like point guard when you think of a point guard. He's, I guess, number one in the NBA in steals, and assists maybe if I remember correctly. I'm just pulling that out of my rear, but and then Malone was the classic like power forward, big guy, had the post moves, like all of that. So that was definitely fun to watch. But I also think about like like middle infield is where I'd like like Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell for the Pirates back in the day.
Tigers.
That's why I say Pirates. Tigers. I knew Tigers. Just wrong word came out of my mouth. So both like Hall of Fame level guys that played together and for like a long time.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, as a Braves fan, Greg Maddux and Eddie Perez. Javi Lopez caught for everybody else, but when Greg Maddux pitched, it was Eddie Perez. I wouldn't call them the great duo. Eddie Perez just happened to be the other end of the Hall of Fame pitcher.
But if you wanted him back there, it meant something to him.
Yeah.
Also think of the Bash brothers.
Yeah.
Canseco and McGuire, when that was like a big deal when they were in Oakland.
What about Braun and Bronny? Is that considered a hot duo?
Not yet.
Womp womp.
I think Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, that was a good one.
LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, but I think I just was never a big fan of that move.
Yeah, I know you weren't a fan, but man, they had chemistry on the court. I mean, you can't take away their success in that regard.
Yeah, but see, I look at them more as a trio, throwing Bosch in there with them than them as a duo.
What about Babe Ruth and Lou?
Well, yeah,
I figured you would maybe say that one.
That didn't actually pop in my head.
It didn't?
No,
I figured it
didn't,
would.
But I wish it would have.
You also wish Tigers would have came out instead of Pirates.
Yeah, well, that I know that. I mean, that was just a complete brain fart. There was not in any shape or form did I not know.
Are we missing anybody that should be obvious? Do you have any that you think that?
Well, I think that this question is interesting because you can just think, achievements, or it can be just some of your favorite players. Like I loved watching Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. And so that would have been a good duo for me. I'm not saying they're the best by any means, but in my era of when I was really getting into watching the Spurs, I mean, and obviously Manu's in there making it a trio, but for me, Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, I always loved watching them. And oh my gosh, it just left me. Jerry Rice and Steve Young.
But see, I put Montana there. So
right, and they do, but go back and look at the stats of that little duo.
Another that because it traveled is Brady and Gronk.
That's what I was going to say.
Because they actually left teams and went with each other to another one.
It doesn't have to just be players. I mean, you could,
the
coaching and player. I mean, that's why.
Well, I mean,
it doesn't have to be a
Mahomes
player.
and Kelsey are another one.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can't talk about them without having all three. Is the big three: Michael, Irvin.
That's the only reason I didn't say that.
Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith.
You have to put Emmitt Smith in there too. So that's the triplets. But so an offshoot, I guess. That's a very interesting question. Good job, Misty, because it makes me think a lot of even how I would assign, being a sports duo.
I know, that's why I was like, obviously a trio, but I just pulled the stats on Steve Young and Jerry Rice. The two connected for 85 touchdowns, over 700 catches, 10,000 receiving yards, making them one of the most productive, of course, duos in football history. And obviously they had a blowout against the Chargers. But
what did Montana?
Those stats are better. It says Jerry Rice obviously had a great run with Joe Montana, but he did even better when Steve Young took over as a starter for the 49ers. So they had better stats. But you obviously think of Joe Montana, but stat-wise, they didn't have the best stats.
But
So-
he also won 3 other rings. He won more rings. than
So just on that particular duo, I thought was interesting.
Well, in Joe Montana's career,
But he also went to the Chiefs so
Yeah.
that Steve Young could play.
yeah. So the career arc, Jerry Rice fit into the middle of the two, I guess, in that transition.
It's not a great one, but Romo and Witten were a pretty good little duo, but they weren't great by any means. But
I would say they were great. I mean, Witten's a surefire Hall of Famer, and Romo is.
all right, let me ask you this, and we've got Chip Townsend coming in a moment, but do you think will Witten be treated like Eli and not a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Well,
Hold that.
No, because you got on that stupid Eli thing.
What about Eli and
But-
Harrison? What?
Peyton.
Uh,
Peyton Manning
yes,
and Marvin Harrison?
and yes.
um,
That, I mean, what about that duo?
But-
That was a good one.
But the thing that makes Jason Witten a totally different case to me than Eli is Jason Witten was all pro. He did have seasons as the best tight end in football. He was always considered the top 3 to 5 every year in his prime. And Eli Manning never was.
You
Well-
gotta pick though. I want number one duo. Just who is your top? If you have to pick one, who is it?
I would go, just because of the success, I'd go Jordan and Pippen.
Same. I mean, that's the one that just pops into
Yeah.
You?
I mean, yeah, no, obviously, yeah.
Who's yours?
Yeah, same.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly the same.
And, that's-
Based off of success.
And that's Misty and mine, buddy. We met Scottie Pippen.
We did. He doesn't remember meeting us.
No, I can assure you, he does not. Hey, but when we come back, we're gonna see if stereotypes are right. Misty and I will have Chip Townsend right after this.
Yeah, he does not. He does not remember meeting us. That's for sure.
He might remember being pissed off. Because if you'll grab them.
He said, "You better make it quick." I'll never forget that. The way he said it.
When you wanted to talk to
Because we
him?
were like, "Can we get a quick picture?" And he literally looked down and
He
said,
looked like fuck.
"You better make it quick."
His hair was all jacked up.
Yeah, I was like,
remember seeing the picture.
"It's so cold out here." Good morning. Come in, it's warm in here. Yes.
That's good, because I was out there.
Y'all should have came in. I apologize for not.
Yeah, we were, but hi, I'm Misty. Nice to meet you.
I grew up in Brooklyn, and so.
Well,
Holmes. Yeah, so, I coached Brady. And then.
Y'all can go ahead and,
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all go here. or yeah, they can go. Yeah, y'all go here.
So-
Just here.
yeah, his funeral was at 12 today, and then my mom is on hospice, so we're probably a week or so out from her as well, so it's like, we got some moving parts going on right now.
Right.
Oh my
But yeah,
gosh, I'm so
thank you
sorry.
for the compliment, see that for sure.
It's tough.
How are you, Missy?
I'm good. How are
Long
you?
time no
Good
see.
to
You
see
doing okay?
you.
Oh,
Yes,
is that getting
yes.
up?
Oh, yeah, I'm a hugger.
Oh, I am
Coming in
too,
for the
but
hug.
I'm trying to be cautious though, like, hey.
Yeah.
gotcha.
No, you're
It's good
good.
to see you.
I'm so sorry. I lost my mom almost a year ago, and I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh,
Like,
well.
just tough.
I mean, I always feel bad even saying anything, I don't really, it's life. and
Yeah, I
she's-
know,
they're-
but it's still
They're
hard.
just kind of doing what they do, and,
Yes.
we're spinning the plates.
Yeah, believe me. Yeah, I went through all of that. Not long
And we're all getting about that age where
It's scary. Yeah,
It's starting to
things
happen,
are
and, you
more and more. Yeah.
I lost my dad a couple years ago as well, and it's like, and you don't,
Yes.
you don't,
What's your first name? I'm so
Well,
sorry.
my first name
Well,
is
and
Ryan.
yeah,
Right, I'm so sorry.
something-
don't- yeah.
something's different when you lose a
and
parent.
you don't think it's gonna happen, it's all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
And my nickname's Hodge, and so that's why.
And where did Hodge come from? Uh-oh.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's just,
One
it
of
was
those can't
accidental. No, it was accidental.
Oh, okay.
Got out of coaching and moved to Abilene. Started playing slow pitch softball with First Baptist here in Abilene.
Yep.
And I was at bat one time, and a guy was like, "Let's go, Hodges, let's get a hit. Let's go, Hodges, let's go." And I have no idea who he's talking about, and I'm batting. Well, come back into the locker, the dugout, and he's like, "My bad, man. I played college baseball with a guy named Ryan Hodges." And so it stuck as Hodges, and then went from Hodges to Hodgie, just straight to Hodge. And for the longest time, we had wives that thought Ryan Holmes and Hodge were two different people. And deep down, he kind of is.
It kind of is. He's got an alter ego.
He does. Hodge is an alter ego for sure.
That is awesome.
Okay, so Chip, if you don't care, because they always talk about with, I'll probably set it up this way. Like I've got buddies that are lawyers that says suits isn't accurate. The lawyer friend says you can't be that as a lawyer. How accurate is Cobra Kai, the show? Did you get questions like that, all that kind of stuff?
So I'm not gonna lie, man, I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV, you hardly watch movies, we don't, so I've never seen a single episode of that show.
Right.
I have Tony Chung, a good friend of mine, is one of the actors, and I know a bunch of the guys on the show.
Right.
But I don't watch the show.
Right.
I never have, so I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I don't follow, I'm weirded out, man. Glenn and I, we have one TV in our house. We use it for movies every now and then and watching a documentary or something with the kids. And we're, so I don't know.
Oh,
Just don't follow it, man.
no, that's good.
I'm probably the worst guy you'll ever have on here for
No,
keeping up with
no, you're good.
what's going on in the world.
We got this, and we're rolling. It is time for hour number 2 as we kick off hour number 2 with kind of an extension of another Big Country Electric My Town segment. We normally highlight a local player coach program, and today we're highlighting, I'm going to let him tell you if it's coach, sensei, or what the actual word, and a organization that's doing a lot of great stuff, not only in Abilene, but all across the Big Country, and have a big event coming up. But joining us in our Potosi Live studio is Chip Townsend from Team Chip, and Benton Overby, also from Team Chip, right? Everything?
Yep.
All right. So appreciate you guys coming in. We were talking before we came on air. I always not joke, but like with my buddies that are lawyers, I always ask them, is suits realistic? And they're like, no, you can't do that. You can't just tell them you're going to sue everybody and all that. And then I asked Chip, and I don't know, Ben may have a different answer than Chip. I finished Cobra Kai, all the seasons or whatever, and how accurate it was. And Chip basically just said, I don't watch.
I have no idea. I'm the worst guy in the world on current what's going on in the world. So I don't even watch TV, man. So I have no idea. I've heard of it. I have some great friends that are actors and stunt performers and stuff in the show, but I have no idea. I haven't seen a single episode.
So do you watch it?
I don't. My wife tells me I need to watch it.
Okay.
She is.
So were you Karate Kid fans growing up of the show, the original?
Now the original?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
With
So now I will tell you, now the Cobra Kai, they do a really good job. All the seasons, I can't remember what season it is, but they bring, of course, Ralph and Johnny are in it, and then they do a good job bringing back select different old school people from the originals to the new Cobra Kai. And anyway, so I'm just curious if it was accurate or not, but since y'all haven't seen it yet.
Man, I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
Should have been prepared.
I will tell you, some of the martial artists that they have on the show, I'm friends with. They're truly world-class martial artists. They're amazing. So that part is accurate. But as far as the storyline, the show, any of that stuff, I have no idea. But I did see it as a kid, and I'm familiar with the characters.
So do they? And I'm going to get my ignorance out of the way. Do they call you sensei?
No. I'll just tell you straight up, I hate titles. But the people that call me anything call me Master Chip.
Okay.
And it's just, in my opinion, a technicality.
Right.
A title that makes who we are, but you get to a certain level of proficiency and instructor level where you become a master instructor. So
are the uniforms gis? Is that accurate?
Well,
too?
that's a Japanese term, believe it or not. So we teach in a dojang, which is a Korean, because our original style was Korean based, and then Japanese is dojo. In Korean, the uniform is a dobok, and in Japanese, it's a gi. So believe it, we teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So we have gis for Jiu-Jitsu, and we have doboks or uniforms for our traditional Korean side.
See, the Hodge Pack is educational too. We don't just bring you sports.
We're gonna culture you, baby.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
I'm culturing them on cinema, and they're culturing me on real stuff that matters. And so, but again, I've known Chip's in-laws for a while, and brother-in-law and sister-in-law and all that. So it's good to get you guys in here to talk about it, what you guys got coming up.
Yes, sir.
But before we do that, talk a little bit about what Team Chip provides. There may be some people looking, hey, and you may be full and don't have room, but like, what Team Chip provides for not only kids but adults that are involved.
Absolutely. So from 3 to over 7. So one of my best students right now is almost 7 years old. He's been training with me for over 20 years. We teach basically kickboxing, traditional taekwondo, which is a Korean-based martial art, and we have Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And we also have a parkour program. Parkour is like we mix some martial arts into it. It's overcoming obstacles. And so everything about martial arts is building a person's grip over their quit, right? So building the grip muscle over the quit muscle and helping them to grow in their confidence, their character. So I'm super biased. Martial arts, when I started when I was 13, changed my life. And I have a prosthetic eye, got picked, prodded, and bullied, and it gave me an opportunity to do something with myself and become a part of something bigger, right? And so physically and mentally, we impact lives tremendously because we have a moral imperative when we teach martial arts. If I'm going to teach you how to break this guy's arm or how to knock him out, I need to teach you a moral code, why and how and when. And so it's very well-rounded in my humble opinion of what we do, and even spiritually. Like for me, this is a gift from God. Jesus gave me this, and I'm giving it back every day the best I can. And so it can be a spiritual thing for you as well. And I don't want that to sound too awkward, but
No.
bothered by that. But for me, every time I throw a hard kick punch, I'm working on something. I'm just taking what God gave me and polishing it to give it back to the next generation.
Well, and I would think you mentioned how why you got into it and all that, but the confidence, and again, not joking, but of what you see that in Cobra Kai whenever you guys watch it 10 years down the road or whenever you have an opportunity. But what the confidence it brings to a individual to know that, hey, it's not about anything, breaking armor, but it's just the confidence that you get in the self-esteem and the confidence in yourself to be you and go be the best version of you.
Absolutely. And so, whenever we call it empowering people, one of our calls is we empower people through their personal pursuit of martial arts. And what that means is to me, I feel like people already have power inside and they already have gifting. We just kind of help them find it, polish it, hone it, and bring it out, right? So when you take a kid that's making C's in school, or maybe they're not the most popular kid, or even a person at work and they're struggling, with getting picked, poked, bullied, whatever that is, and we bring them in, we start teaching them, you are a person of value, and physically having them hit mitts and hit things, and they feel themselves growing, getting strong. They've got people walking up and going, wow, I can't believe what you just did. Their confidence grows, and the cool part is rarely do you ever have to fight. You begin to carry yourself in a way that people just know, okay, that's not someone that I want to mess with right now. And so it's just a growing process.
Well, and I would think it would also, if you're looking for exercise and figure out a way to get in shape, and because let's say you don't want to just go take off running, or you don't want to do weights and all that kind of stuff, a way to kind of maybe start getting in better physical shape for yourself.
Well, we call it exercise with purpose. And the reason we say that is because through the fitness that you gain, striking, exercising, building your conditioning, leaning your body out, and all these things that you get as benefits of martial arts, it's you have a purpose now, not just getting strong, but I'm getting strong in a way that I could defend myself. And it's a really powerful combination when you mix those things. Benton's son, Peyton, is one of our young black belts and part of our leadership team, and might be able to speak to that as well, because he's been with us for a long time and is becoming a very accomplished young man in our program as well.
So how long have you been involved with Team Chip?
It was right at COVID is when we started. So my son, he's 14 right now, and of course, 6, 7, 8 years old, we were doing every sport: football, basketball, baseball, all that. And he was begging us to do karate. Karate. That's what he got. Karate. Dad, I do karate. And so we're like, you're involved in everything. Like, we don't have time for this. But COVID shut all that down. But Team Chip was still open, and they found a way through COVID to get these kids in and get them worked out. And so we're like, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a try. And it's so funny. I tell the story that we got him there, we got him on the mat, and in class 1, and he had a smile ear to ear, and we could not wipe the smile off his face, and we still can't. What, 5 years later?
5 years later.
5 years later,
that
yeah.
Same smile most of the
Still,
time.
always. He absolutely loves it, and so now, and he doesn't. Now he does swim through Wiley West Junior High, but we don't do the basketball, baseball, any of that. He wants to do taekwondo, do martial arts, and so yeah, he's a black belt. He's loving it.
So, and we're going to get to breaking barriers in a moment, but so how do they go compete? Because as a guy that likes sports and all those things, how do you compete? Like, what are ways that do you again going back to Cobra Kai? Do you go to competitions and do stuff like that?
We do. So amongst our organization, a lot of people don't realize this. We have 6 schools. We have 4 affiliate schools: Montana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, another one in Texas. And then we have 2 schools that we own, Abilene and San Angelo. So three times a year we have tournaments amongst our schools, kind of in-house tournaments, and then we have outside opportunities sometimes for the students to compete as well. So if there's a tournament coming up, we'll announce that in the school, give kids the opportunity to volunteer. Hey, I want to do that, and then we'll often set up some extra competition classes to help prep them. But it's a pretty easy process.
Well, that's cool. I just think it's neat. So, how many students do you have right now?
Across our entire organization, we're about 1,000 students. Here in Abilene, about 420. In San Angelo, we're right at 200 students there. Wow, they're active training students on the mat right now.
That's pretty phenomenal.
Well, you got to think in 1995, I trained at that point for 11 years. I took this over from my instructor. We had 57 here in Abilene, and so it's been an amazing. We've been absolutely blessed.
That's cool. So let's talk about the event that's coming up. Breaking Barriers, an evening with Kicks for Kids. It's going to be out at Potosi Live, so whoever wants to take off and talk a little bit about that and how folks can get involved and go from there.
Yeah, I'll start. Kicks for Kids is, as I say, it's the nonprofit arm of for Teen Chip. And so what we do is we scholarship at-risk and underprivileged kids in the Abilene area and get them into a stable environment. And a lot of times these kids they come from a home where, dad may not be around, mom may not be around, or both sometimes.